Hey, what's up, y'all? This the second installment of the Truth Session. Today, I was just sitting back thinking, well, it's been on my mind for years. I talked about it a little bit when I had a podcast years ago, which they call internet radio. They just gave it a new name. By me growing up in Chicago, I was born and raised there, 1976, 114th01 South Normal. Before it was the Wild Hunters, Roseland area. You know, Me and my friends were just like anybody else. I tell people I always see the I seen the change. Ain't too many people. You had to been born in like the 70s to really see the change in your neighborhood to where everybody is about community. You can sleep with your doors open, leave your bike in the front yard, leave your good barrel garbage barbecue grill in the yard unchained, or didn't have to roll it in the garage, or anything. Sleep in your car with the windows down. It was just there was a community back then. I remember that. A lot of people that grew up in that area, so we had friends. She was me. Devin, Richard. You know what I mean? Kennard, Robert, TJ, Lamar, Gilbert, Dion, my nigga Dewan, rest in peace, Dennis, we grew up. Benjamin, my school was literally about a half a block maybe, tops away from me. Thomas Brennan, go Eagles. Yeah, we won a chip too. You know what I mean? So, and as time went on, you play, you grow up. So by the time, we got to like 12, 13, 14, the gang element always been there. You know what I mean? But it wasn't as strong in the 80s as when the 90s hit. And when the 90s hit, between the drugs and that makes the gang presence more, that would made it more viable, and they was there. That's when things started to change. People appearance start to change, behavior start to change, the whole neighborhood start to change. People bikes start coming up missing, car antennas. We didn't even know why people was taking car antennas. They thought it was us. They literally thought, because we were some bad kids. No bullshit. We were some bad kids. They thought we was running around tearing people's antennas up. Police coming to our house and everything. Unbeknownst to them, the crackheads were still in it packing their pipes with that shit. You know what I mean? And nobody didn't even know until later. You know what I mean? So we seen that change. That's a whole nother episode about the change in the drugs. But I want to get to this organization, so-called gang, family. So, we ran the streets. People, picking sides, running around. 9 times out of 10, whatever your big homies are in the hood or whatever your family members in the hood, that's what you normally be. So, we was running around, all of us. It was folks in Blackstones. There was a presence in our neighborhood. So I ran around, like you said, with my homies. Most of them was Blackstones, and the red and the black, and I always felt out of place. Shit, I'm not gonna lie. For one, I'm 14 years old. For one, I never got blessed into no Blackstones, none of that. There's nobody on this planet can claim that I did. So as time went on, I'm gonna give you a little background on the choices that I made. That my brother was a CVL, he was a conservative. Me and him was oil and water. So therefore, I knew in back of my mind, there's no goddamn way that I was gonna be a vice lord. Because me and my brother did not get along. He wouldn't even let me ride in the car with him. He wouldn't take me around. My big OG, big homie, big cuz, big bro, OG Ringo let me run around. So as time went on, you know what I mean? All these niggas that say they was my homies. Now mind you, I'm probably about 13. I think I was in like 8th grade. Motherfuckers jealous of me, my starter coats, my Jordans. Give you a brief history on that. My father got murdered when I was 4 years old. So yeah, I was getting his pension, his Social Security check. Me and my mom, 2 separate checks every month. So she bought me what I want. But would I trade all that in to have my father in my life? Abso-fucking-lutely. So people was jealous. So one day, they baited a female. That's how they used to do. A female bait you in. She came over there and spit on my coat. I tried to do something. They jumped me. So now, mind you, these supposed to be my niggas. I went and got my niggas back. I told them, none of them niggas did nothing but my nigga Devin. Now, mind you, he was the youngest. He like a year and a half younger than me. He the only one came out the crib with a butcher knife, ready to poke something up. At that time, it was cold outside, and it was another situation where he grabbed a knife. He the only one. So I'm sitting here thinking, family and loyalty, you know what I mean? Because I remember times we was riding our bike, and niggas tried to take motherfuckers' bikes, and we stood down. I ain't care about getting my ass whooped. That means nothing to me. My grandfather, my OGs, everywhere, and the fire in me that's in my DNA, win, lose, or draw, it never, because ain't a motherfucker that can say on this planet that they punk Lavelle. Period. From Chicago to Milwaukee, I get my ass whooped first. That was my mentality. I'm surprised. I thank God that I ain't dead. Because I had that mentality. You'll kill me on my feet before I live on my knees to you. I will never bow to you. I will never run from you. I would never be scared of you. That was always my mentality, and ain't no gang shit had nothing to do with that. So as time went on, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what I mean? So my OG, Ringo told me, he was like, man, them niggas ain't help you, but they supposed to be your brothers and woo this and woo that. I said, yeah. So, that's when motherfuckers really start choosing sides. He said, man, them niggas ain't your homies. You know what I mean? He said the only one get your homie is Devin. Because he the only one tried to do something, and my nigga Kennard. They was ready, but by him being the OG and the niggas that he's talking about, he drove down on them. We squashed the shit, because they got misled on some bullshit by the chick. You know what I mean? So we squashed the shit. So I'm sitting there, like you said, hey, this is our neighborhood. This is how we came up. It may be good, it may be bad, it may be right or wrong, but this is the truth. So you sitting there, everybody gonna choose a side. It wasn't too many neutrons in our hood. Shout out to Hayward Jones and you know what I mean, and Dewan and all them. Man, they stood their ground. Their mamas made them stand their ground, and they didn't choose to fall off into that mess. I should have stayed with them because I had two sets of friends. I had street nigga friends and I had bookworm friends because I was smart. You know what I mean? I just didn't like school. So I chose to be folks. Simple as that. That was my choice. Yes, I did. Win, lose, or draw. If a nigga didn't like it, they could have did something to me. Niggas felt some type of way. Shout out to Frog. Me and him fell out over the shit. But he the only one that I can mention that was really putting in work later on down the line after I left Chicago when he really got out there in the streets and started doing the thing. Whether it was wrong, whether it was right. But he was the only truthful street nigga that was out there doing that. You know what I mean? So, like you said, in these neighborhoods, motherfuckers choose sides. And then at the end of the day, people start feeling some type of way when you do that. So I'm running with the folks. My niggas getting mad. But one thing about me, I never felt no indifference to my friends. No indifference to none of them. Just because that's what the hat they wore. It just didn't register to me. We was in the sandbox with each other. We slept in the same bed, played the same games, ate the same foods. Our mamas was best friends. Our grandmamas was best friends. So how I couldn't logically turn against my niggas because they was repping another set and I was somewhere over here. You know what I mean? It's been a couple times that them niggas wanted me to set my niggas up and jump them and invite them to this party and do this. I would never do that shit. But yet and still, like you said, and then at 15 years old, I had a kid. So I ain't sitting here saying that I was some stomp down ass gangster out there killing niggas. You will never hear a lyric. And been rapping since I've been 15. And yeah, you brag and you do both. That's when you finding yourself talking about murder shit and doing shit because everybody do it. Don't try to act like nobody didn't do it. But one thing to believe, it wasn't me. I wasn't out there killing motherfuckers and doing that shit because my motto was like Tupac said, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. You put your hands on me, you do something to my family, then you're going to see a different side of me. That's why I always sat there and said. So the question was posed to me by my OG Ringo. I kept running back and forth. I had moved to Milwaukee when I was 17. That's why niggas still be yapping their gums about me. They don't know a goddamn thing about me from Chicago. I left when I was 17. I came up here and made a much better life. So let's get into this growth and development. When you read the Bible, the Quran, any type of religious text, or you could just read a regular run-of-the-mill book by somebody, everybody gonna get a different interpretation. So when I started reading the laws and concepts of this particular organization, I took it to heart to the point to where I grew and developed out of that shit. It says take care of your family. I stopped being a gangster so my son wouldn't be one. Simple as that. And I don't lose no sleep about that shit. My son ain't no street nigga. That's great. You know what I mean? My grandson ain't no street nigga. He's 15 years old. That's great. That's what the laws and concepts of any type of religion, gang, organization, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is what it's about. About raising your kids to be better than you. Not all that old hoorah gangsta ass shit, I'm stumped down ass nigga, when half of these niggas rats. You'll never see my name on no state or federal paperwork. I didn't get down and grind with my homies, and then as soon as I got knocked, I told on them. But can a lot of you niggas say the same? You ask yourself that question. Ain't no shit on my name. Real talk. There's no shit or no venom. The only venom that comes is some jealous ass niggas that want the same chicks that want me. That's always been. You know what I mean? Niggas that's claiming to be OGs, but you niggas DGs. You niggas disappointing grown-ups. Just because you got gray in your goddamn hair don't mean you an OG by the stretch of nobody's imagination. What you doing for your families? What you did for your kids? What you doing for your community? What type of stand-up nigga are you? Is anybody doing time because of you? That's the thing. And what type of 40 or 50-year-old man or 60-year-old man are you? You're supposed to be trying to pull the YNs up to your status, not stoop down to their status, running around with tight shit on, acting like some studio-ass gangster, Facebook-ass gangster, sitting there putting all these filters and all this shit, trying to act like you Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or Booby or whoever the fuck you think you are, you're not. So I made a conscious decision at a very early age. I got a God-given gift. Goddamn right. God gave me the gift to put the words together to make people feel, and I am a poet. I do AI. I got a lot of AI songs. My AI artist gonna come out. That's my work, my thoughts, my soul. And to go back to, so the niggas felt some type of way. It is what it is. I left. My cousin told me, he said, you're going to be either full-time gangster or full-time father. You can't be both. Simple as that. I thought about it on the ride to the way home, and he was right. So I started coming up there less and less. So I came up there in the session and told the niggas like, man, I'm out. I'm finna go up here and raise my son. Simple as that. Take it how you want it. Yeah, everybody's called Lavelle ain't no street nigga. He never was no street nigga. He wasn't this and he wasn't that. I take pride in that, nigga. What? I made it through the 90s. I chose the whole better way. I moved up here and met some stomp down niggas. I got a job. Yeah, I hustled on the side. Don't get me wrong, but I got a job. I floated around and did my music. I changed my whole skilo. Nobody didn't know Lavelle the gangster. Nobody didn't know Lavelle was from the Wild Hunters. Nobody knew Lavelle was normal. Lavelle, all they knew was Lavelle rap and took care of his son. And when time went on, he saw me with my daughter and took care of his daughter. That's what I want to be known as, because I grew and developed out of it. No matter what gang you claim, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Not running around killing, backbiting your niggas, doing all this weird ass shit. Why you think they call it a trap? They stuck us in this trap. Why you think people leave and don't come back? It's war zones out there. And that shit ain't nothing to brag about. It sounds good on the record. Don't get me wrong, because I rap about it and I make music like that. It sounds good. But in actuality, men and women, boys and girls are dying. Simple as that. So for somebody to sit there and talk about what a nigga is or what a nigga ain't or what a man is and what a man ain't, look in the goddamn mirror and see what you are. I know exactly what I am. I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a cousin, I'm a nephew, I'm a hardworking man that takes care of myself to help take care of my family. Those are things that matter to me the most. all that weird ass, silly ass shit. I still, hold a part of my heart to the niggas that's out there grinding, and it don't matter what gang, because at the end of the day, we all in the same one. Because they stick your ass in that prison, or stick you in that ground, or stick you in that urn, none of that means nothing no more. You doing all that time, you getting murdered from some corrupt ideology that you holding that really don't supposed to hold no weight, because you're blinded. Simple as that. Take it how you want to, get mad, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Because like I said, I took that GD and turned it into growth development. I took that GD, I'm a granddaddy. I took that GD and turned it to a grown goddamn man. That's what I turned it into. And that's what I stand on that. So growing up in Chicago, no, it wasn't easy. But by the stroke of more than likely God, when our house burned down, got caught a fire, electrical fire, and burned down, I came up here and made a whole new life for myself. Sure in the fuck did. Was I still screaming G? Yes. Do I still scream it? Yes. Sometimes I do. Old habits die hard, because it's still in my heart. But I don't hate nobody. I don't hate what you claim. I just hope you wise enough to see what the impact is that is costing you, your family, and your community. You can claim what you want to claim. I don't have no problem with Jews. I don't have no problem with Christians. I'm a Muslim. I don't have no problem. The only problem I have with is the people that got problem with me. You can pray to whoever you want to pray to. You can throw up whatever set you want to throw up to. That means nothing to me. Because like I said, at the end of the day, I paid my dues in life. I made it through life. I made it through as a teenage father. I made it through one of the most heavy gang and drug eras known to the black and brown community. I didn't fall victim to it. Because most niggas are victims, period. No matter how you look at it. You did time, you a victim. You got shot, you a victim. You shot somebody else, you still a victim. You jumped somebody else, you still a victim. Because you fell down to it. So for a nigga to say that I ain't real, you could check my resume. My resume, I stand by everything, period, that I ever did in my life, that I ever didn't do in my life. I stand by it. It don't make me no difference. I am who the fuck I am at the end of the day. And I salute all the ones who got up out of that shit. All the OGs, the real ones that done got out. All the young ones that done got out and just take care of their families and finding a different route. Because it is a different route. It's always a different route. You ain't got to dream to be no one-trick pony. A real hustler gonna get his money any which way he can. Period. One-trick ponies only got one trick: selling dope, robbing niggas. That's all they default. They can't go get a job. They don't want to study, try to get their GED. They don't want to try to drive no trucks. They don't want to. They said they're great with numbers and their memory great. They don't want to try to go elevate. That's what hustlers do. Hustlers elevate. They always looking to elevate. They don't want nothing to hinder them. They don't use people. All that pimp Mac ass shit, these niggas running around here doing, man, please, grow up. That's what you need to do. Because ain't nothing worse than an old fool. The YNs, y'all got time. Y'all need to pay attention to what's going on and grow up. But the niggas and the chicks my age, shame on y'all. Period. Ain't no OGs. Y'all disappointing grown-ups at the end of the day. Period. So stop screaming that shit like you real. Because you ain't put no motherfucking work in. The only work you put in, especially for some of these old weak-ass niggas, that's my age, the only work that you done put in is putting that pen to that motherfucking pad, telling on your niggas to get out the jams you was in. Simple as that. That's rat behavior. Because if I sit and congregate in the room with criminals, I'm going to be prepared for the consequences that come behind it. So that's why I left a lot of the room with the criminals, because I didn't want to do the consequences. So how can that be fake when you look a nigga in the eye and be like, no, I'm straight on that move, my nigga, and walk away? How is that fake? That's being real. So that gang shit, that shit don't mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, I got grandkids. Period. And that's who I'm going to raise. And I'm raising them and I'm helping them to become better people and be a better person than I was. Simple as that. Real life family shit. Not all that bullshit on the gram or TikTok or all that shit. Yeah, it's good for entertainment, but that's what it is, entertainment. This real life. And it's the truth speaker. The truth has been spoken. Peace out.